Hello all, and welcome to another episode of Just Sports with John. And today's video is going to be about the NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics playing the Golden State Warriors. And we're going to get right into it and do the breakdown on this. So we got two really good teams. Both teams really do a good job on defense. Most notably, the Celtics do a really good job of defense, and Warriors have been pretty good defensively. I think we all know them a little bit better as an offensive club, but so we're going to start breaking down with the lineup. So you have Marcus Smart on one side. You know, he plays mostly their point guard, and we'll get to that here in a minute. Jaylen Brown's mostly their shooting guard. I know NBA is kind of positionless, but I'm just doing this to kind of help you kind of figure out where these guys will be. Tatum will be kind of their smaller forward. And then Horford's been playing kind of the four role or power forward role. And then Robert Williams will play the five, or as commonly known as the center. And then on the Warrior side, you'll typically start with Curry as the primary ball handler, point guard. Klay Thompson be their primary shooting guard or number two. Number threes or small forward would be Wiggins, and then rounded out with Green and Looney, who are somewhat interchangeable, but at the 4 and 5 or power forward and center positions. I think that'll be your game one starting lineups. I wouldn't be surprised throughout the series if the lineups actually change, especially with Steve Kerr's team. He might decide to start Poole one game. He might decide to start Porter one game. They have a deep bench, we'll get into as well. And then on the Celtic side, I would pretty much expect that that's going to be the starting lineup. I would find it a little hard for them to take out one of those guys. It's possible that either Grant Williams or Derek White might start a game, just depending on how things are going, especially if Kerr elects to say take out Looney, start Green at the five, and start Poole. Then they might go with White. Um, we'll see. Or he might decide to start Grant Williams in place of Horford. So we'll see if there's changes going forward. But essentially, I think what a lot of this game comes down to, start talking about the keys, is that the Celtics are not quite as good ball handlers as what the Warriors are. And we've seen this time and time again where, especially Marcus Smart, he'll be the primary point guard and he'll be dribbling the ball down the court and he'll just has a tendency to let it loose a little bit here and there. Jaylen Brown's a pretty good ball handler, but both him and Tatum also have kind of the same issues there. I think Derek White and Pritchard for the Celtics handle the ball really well, but they're also, especially Pritchard's defensive liability, and White's not the best defender either. So you might gain ball handling, but you're also gonna slack, especially in interior defense if you have either of those two in. Um, so I think ball handling is going to be really key for the Celtics. They're going to have to not turn this ball over. And on the flip side, I think the Warriors are going to have to do a really good job in the paint area. I think Robert Williams, with his lobs and his dunks, his propensity to do offensive rebounding and putbacks. Same thing with kind of Grant Williams, and he can stretch you out for threes. And then Horford, as we've seen in the last series, has been doing a great job in the paint. So I think that'll be a little tougher for the Warriors. I mean, Green and Looney are sort of their only two real big guys, if you will. I think Wiggins is going to have to do a lot better job rebounding in this game. Otto Porter Jr. is going to have to do a real good job helping them out with rebounds. And that's about it for the Warriors in terms of rebound. Thompson's going to have to get his nose in there. So I think, between the Celtics ball handling and the Warriors in the paint, there's something there too. But also, while we're talking about that, I think the Celtics need to avoid a three war. Now, the Celtics do a really good job in threes. They're not bad off when you just look at playoff stats. They're, I think, a little above 36%. I think Warriors around 37%. But I think we would all agree a little bit more that the Warriors have a little bit more clutch 3-point shooters, more consistent 3-point shooters. It seems like the Celtics have about three, maybe four of those guys, whereas the Warriors have three solid 3-point shooters and about three others who can come in and really hit threes at a good rate as well too, solidly. So I think the Celtics want to make sure they avoid a three war, especially if they're missing threes. That's not going to be really good. They got to take advantage of that paint that we were just talking about. But also, okay, another key I think here is the Warriors bench. I mean, Steve Kerr has been playing tons and tons of guys. So when I'm looking at the bench, I'm looking at Jordan Poole, Otto Porter Jr. Now, there are some question marks like, is Gary Payton going to be ready? Latest reports say that he should be playing in this series. Andre Iguodala hasn't been playing. It sounds like he could come back by at least game two. Uh, so right there, they've got at least four guys coming off the bench. Steve Kerr hasn't been played afraid, hasn't not been afraid to play Moody, hasn't been afraid to play Kuminga. He's played Belica a little bit here and there, but they can easily go 10 to 12 deep in their roster, more like 10, but they're not afraid to pull out the bench. Celtics really only have Derek White, Grant Williams, Pritchard, and maybe Tice. They don't really go at all beyond their bench on that. So Celtics also got to watch on foul trouble for that. But I think this is also going to come into the bench and then the coaching aspects of this too, and especially for the Warriors. Like, Steve Kerr's been here, these players have been here, they know what they're doing, they know how to coach, they know how to, just like a lemon or orange, they know how to squeeze the most out of that and really make their bench work and their coaching propensities and changes work for them as well too. I think that the Celtics are going to have to take advantage of matchup keys. So, for example, Smart needs to run rough shot over Curry, needs to run rough shot over Poole. He's got to be aggressive against those guys. Tatum, if he gets matched up on any of those guys, he's got to take advantage of that. I think that Robert Williams needs to rough up Looney. Looney's a good defender. That's going to be a tough assignment for Robert Williams against Green or Looney. But I think, the more that Robert Williams can keep Looney busy and Green busy and work them on the defensive end, it's going to make it harder for them. So I think Celtics do have a little bit more physicality matchup wise that they could take advantage of, especially with their starters. And then, like I said, maybe Grant Williams off the bench. So that's going to be key to watch there. But ultimately, I'm thinking because of the experience, because of the high caliber of the Warriors players, I ultimately predict that the Warriors will win this series. I'm going to say Warriors will win it in 6. That is my prediction for the NBA Finals. Please comment. Let me know if you have any thoughts. If you just anything I didn't cover that you want to go over in the NBA Finals, let me know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and please share these videos too with anybody you know. I appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.